So historically in Scribeware, if you wanted to have a repair comment, it would always show up at the bottom of a big list of, if you had a big list of deficiencies like this. And we've had some Palm Tech users over the years, and I think one thing they've always wanted is the deficiencies to be able to show right next to this. So we've always had a way to do that with descriptive icons, but we could never do it with something that was going to go to the summary page.
Dylan,
So,
We're not
we
seeing
may
your
not be
screen.
seeing your
oh,
screen.
okay. Thank you. Sorry, let me share. That's probably a little
There
more
you go.
helpful, huh? Thanks, guys. Sorry about that. All right, cool. Yeah. So, here in this template, we've got a whole bunch of what HG would have called styles and materials kinds of things, descriptive stuff up at the top. And if you had a deficiency in the past, like a repair type thing, it would always go at the bottom. But we actually made a modification where you could show next to connected field value. I'll show you where this is, but you could actually have a repair type comment that you would want to go to the summary page and have it show up adjacent to the place that it came from, the field value. So this is actually kind of new. The only type of narrative you used to be able to do this with was a descriptive type narrative. And it kind of made sense for how we originally designed it. The idea was that you could have, for example, background information about a heat exchanger and tuck it right up next to a gas forced air furnace, but that all your repair item type things that would go to the summary would show up down below. But depending on what you guys are trying to achieve, I think by doing this change that we made, the workflow on the mobile app will be a lot quicker because the narrative repair type comments won't all accumulate at the bottom. They're going to accumulate right in line. So essentially that kind of thing would end up expanding. I'll kind of show you what I mean. Maybe it's a concrete and a gravel driveway and it was acceptable, and then you could hit marginal. Now there's another repair item, and concrete, acceptable, defective. So now these are all just kind of building out inline rather than always having to go to the bottom. So all of you guys, not everybody will have this. This is only in beta at the moment, but I found a couple little bugs with it that hopefully Steve will get fixed here soon. But this is something that will be coming to you soon. So if you're interested in this, how you can do it is under settings and modifiers. These are all the different modifiers I have for this template. We'll click defective and kind of look at it. If you're new to Scribeware, under settings and modifiers, this is a very powerful part of Scribeware. A lot of our competitors don't allow kind of unlimited different modifiers, but you can build your own, so you can add new ones if you want, or you could click one open and you could give it a different name, and you could give it a different definition. You can give it a different color. You can change the icon. But this is the big thing, is that you could show next to connected field value. And what that means is if that comment, came from, grounds or drainage or whatever, then it would show next to there, like I was just showing you guys. So before we had this, but when you enabled it, it would actually automatically turn it off from the summary. But in this case, I can have it now go to the summary and show next to connected field value. So I actually think it's kind of subtly a big change that will just let you do more with the template. So I think it's actually kind of cool. I'm a little bit scared because we're going to roll this out to lots of people. And I've been testing it and I think it works, but
Round
Hey,
of
Dylan.
applause.
Hey, Dylan, is Gary got a question?
No, I was just saying round of applause. I love it.
Yeah,
We've
no,
talked
it's
about this
awesome.
for years. Yeah.
Yeah, I have one question, Dylan. Will it negatively affect old reports that get updated?
no, it'll only affect things going forward. Or if you republished an old report, but it wouldn't touch an old report. So you should be good there.
That's what
And
I mean, republishing an old report.
if you republish an old report, it could affect it. Here's what's interesting when I started playing with it. Does everybody kind of get what I'm talking about here? We all on the same page? Yeah. Okay, cool. So I'm going to get out of the settings and the modifiers for a sec. We'll go back in here. So the interesting thing is if you wanted every comment to show up under driveway, and by the way, I think I let Donnie in here. Hey, Donnie, I met with Donnie this morning, and Donnie's team was sort of an inspiration behind this. So you can thank Donnie. And I think this is really looking cool. I think it's a neat way to do it. That's just a little bit different from how we've done it. One limitation would be like right now, I built a marginal and a defective. Now, what you could do is just call it marginal. And then if you wanted to call it a future project, you could always change it. But if I wanted to freehand a walks comment from down here, it's always going to end up at the bottom. And I don't really have a way to reconnect it up here. So you would always need to kind of choose one of your comments. But one of the incredible things that we're starting to innovate with Scribeware is with these gunny sacks, you don't need very many comments now. So you don't need to build out millions of comments. So this one is, site grading is marginal. Hire somebody to fix it. Well, what's wrong? Well, I only made this as kind of a demo, but we could check that the grade of the site slopes toward the building and soils are in siding contact. Water's collecting adjacent to the foundation. So kind of neat. Like you really don't need that many comments. You can build out a comment where all this stuff's in one comment. And then if you wanted to call it a future project or whatever, you could change it. And by changing it, it would stay. Now, here's an interesting one. I think I have a modifier that I forgot to say show next to connected field value. Which one was it?
Yeah, Dylan, this is kind of cool because it gives the gunnies another reason to live.
It really does. It makes, yeah. So see how I show no modifier is not show next to connected field value. So when I switch to that, it pushed that comment all the way down. Whereas as soon as I go back to like defective, it'll now keep it up here. So yeah, and on the mobile device, what's nice is now you really don't have to scroll for different sections on the mobile. Like this entire grounds chapter can all be accessed from one section. So
Will
I
you
actually
show
think,
a print preview of that
yeah,
particular one?
let's put a couple pictures in just to like kind of give a feel for it, and we'll do a preview. But I thought this could end up being a really nice change. So let's preview, and I'll drag it over here. There it is. Full report. By the way, this has the summary at the end. That's a relatively new feature. You can have the summary in the beginning or the end now. So that's how this one is. So
And the
this is kind
summary
of
at the
how,
bottom is going to probably push folks to open the full report and read it and then check the summary,
I
maybe?
think the logic of having the summary at the back is that you kind of force everybody to read the full report.
Uh-huh.
I've always
Yeah.
had the summary in the beginning myself, and I haven't
Yeah.
changed that, but
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that'd be a good, we should go over that. Anyway, I thought this was just kind of a cool new thing to Scribeware that actually makes it significantly more flexible with different template design. So let me know what you guys think. But I think
I love it.
I love it
Yeah.
so much I can't stand it.
Yeah. I
uh-oh.
love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Way
Charlie,
to
can you share with us your cartoon of lifting the casket,
Yeah,
you're
right.
from your coffin and but wait, I'm
Yeah.
not done with my template yet, right? I mean,
What
all it
what
takes
was
is
Yeah.
that
one thing
about?
like this, and now you like have to go back to the well and go fix your template. So
Oh, yeah.
Dylan, show us again how to enable that, please.
yeah, all right. So we'll go into Scribeware. So we go under settings, and Jamie, you won't be able to at the moment to look for an update. And I think an update will be coming. I found a couple bugs that Steve needs to fix. So the trick is under observation modifiers is show next to connected field value. And again, what used to happen, if you play with it on yours, as soon as you check that, it will automatically turn off the summary. And I can't even remember why we did that, but it was just a different sort of logic. We were kind of wanting you to do it one way, and now you could turn on or off the summary no matter what. And then with this one, you can basically now have both of these checked. That's kind of the difference.
That stacks them. It gives you option to stack them at the bottom or show them as you scroll down.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right. And the only risk, as I said, of doing it this way, I wouldn't call it a risk, but it's a limitation, is you can't freehand something. You can't now add an observation, and I can't like drag it up here and make it step up here with steps and stoops or porches. Like they kind of have to originate there. So if you were designing a template like this, you definitely want to make sure, but you could even have just a holder here that's like add observation, right? And it would, it could essentially.
So if you've collectively put all your defects in a bottom section of this report and called them defects, all of those are going to have to be spread back out into the each modifier there. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So the key thing, if you want to use this, is you got to build, a handful of links here to a comment so that there always will be right next to one of these field values.
Yeah, and that defective comment needs to stack in there with the porches or with patio or with deck and porch.
That's exactly right. So everything that you can see here, I don't have anything linked. Like I didn't.
Okay.
And I'll show everybody how to link. Let's actually write a comment and link it just in case.
Dylan, if you're going to use the gunnies, then you just add it right to the gunny rather than having to create a new narrative at the bottom.
Yeah, that's right. And so let's under deck porch. We were just playing with this, but so deck porch.
I put that picture in the chat for you guys, but
I'm gonna open it up. Let's see.
Well, could you not, if you created a new one right there, could you not save it to your template and then delete it, and then now you can edit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Say that again, James.
Say that again.
So if you were to create a new one, like you said, when you create a new one on the fly, and it's right there, and it can't be added to one of those because it's not linked, could you not do that, then save it to the template, and then go?
Yeah, and then go link it later. Yeah. And that's kind of what I'm going to do. So let's go. I'm building one here for deck sports. So deck/porch repairs needed. Repairs are needed to the decks, porches. The following observations were noted. Sorry, I'm such a bad typer, and I'm even worse when I'm trying to talk and type in front of lots of people. All right, so I'll turn this. This is how I kind of turn it blue. I got the all caps. So this is, if you've never built a gunny sack, brace yourself. It's going to happen to you. So this is one of my favorite ways to build a little mini gunny sack. I put my cursor here, and then I use the text replacement button. So we're going to hit that. And then we're going to allow multiple selections, and we're going to use bullets. As soon as I hit bullets, you could also hit numbered. They kind of act the same if you want numbers, but that's what gives you this little title box up here. So what I like to do is use a pen emoji, and I'm on a Windows machine. So if I hit the Windows key and a period key, it brings up all these different emojis. So there's gajillions of them, but it'll serve you up the ones that you might have used most recently. So I use this pen a lot, so I can hit that. Now I have a little pen. So now we could start making a list of deck repairs, right? The deck ledger board has not been bolted to the building. The deck guard is loose. The decking material is rotting. We'll just stop there. I have a deck gunny sack that's got like 500 comments in it or something. So we'll keep it simple for this demonstration. So here we've got 3 options. I can hit save And now I've saved it, right? So cool. I've got this little mini gunny. As you guys probably know about gunny sacks, that pen actually stays hidden unless I choose something. And I can go ahead and click on it and choose some things, fill it out. And you can actually save this comment with those things pre-filled out. So if I come up and hit add to library, it'll remember it with those filled. So let's bring it up now. Deck. There's our comment. You can see they've got them all filled out and ready to go. And the yellow won't print in the finished report. That's kind of on the back end. So cool. So we've got this comment. So now let's link it to, we're going to link it to defective here. So what we're going to do is edit this section. So we'll go to the 3 dots and edit section. That'll turn it green. Then we're going to go to deck and porch and defective. So we'll use suggested observations, defective, and hit the next button. And this is a key thing. Donnie, who I met with earlier, struggled with this. We automatically serve up a keyword for you here, and that brought up a bunch of things. So I can delete that, and that'll change what comes up. And interestingly, it served up this last comment that I just made for me now. So I'm going to hit that. Then hit save and save again. And now it is blue. And so the blue, you guys all with me? Am I moving too fast? Okay, good. So now when we come up here, we've got a little blue defective thing, and we've linked that comment next to connect to that field value. Amen.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. Let's rebuild the template. Yep.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, Charles Belfort just asked to record this meeting on his computer, and Jamie asked about that. I do my best to record these and send them up, but feel free to record on your computer if you just want to like have it on your machine. The controls are in Zoom somewhere. So I should figure out where, but they're somewhere in Zoom.
Is there some place to go look at previous sessions?
Yeah, if you go on the YouTube channel, that's where I put them up, and you'll see, you know, I have them up in there in different dates and stuff.
Got it. Thank you. Second question.
Yeah.
When you did the preview, the chapter and sections were showing up, which has been added earlier this year.
Oh, you mean on the summary, are you talking about where do you mean?
In the full report, I thought I saw it.
Yeah, I think in the full report you just see the chapters and not the sections unfold. You want me to open up one of my reports? I probably have something on here.
Well, so
I would love it to have sections show.
Yeah, so this has been, we should talk about this.
That? There's a flag for that, right?
So what there is a setting for, let's go over this because this is a good question. Let's go to the summary. Yeah, so we got a couple different settings that are going on here. So in this summary page, I have it toggled where it'll show both the chapter that this comment came from and the section. And I think that was a really nice improvement we made because you can now, it's a little more clear where a comment is coming from in the finished report. So let me show you how you get to that. Can you
I
guys
know
see?
where to get to that, but
Well,
afterwards,
I just want to make sure everybody does real quick, and then
Right.
we'll get on to your next part. So are you guys seeing the back end of Scribeware again?
Yeah.
Cool. So you go under settings and report templates, and we have is it include chapter in summary and include section name in summary. So I actually have this toggled off in that new PalmTech template that I was just kind of demoing just because we're going to be able to put everything into one section. See, there's really no point in having the section name. It'll almost be the same as the chapter name, I think. So at least at the moment, I left that toggled off. But in my template, if we go back to that sample report, you can see I have grounds, exterior stairs, exterior siding and trim. So anyway, everybody with me on that setting? And then I think the other thing that Wayne was asking about, and I'd love your guys' feedback on this, is we get some feedback that people in the finished report want to see all of the chapters expanding, or all the sections expanding per chapter in the finished report. I kind of see that. I worry a little bit that it could get to be a lot, like it would start pushing things around a lot. So I don't know. I'm not. Anybody have any thoughts on all that?
My thought is that you would probably want to confirm that mobile users are able to make an impact. For me, I try to push everybody to a desktop. I don't want them reviewing it on a mobile. So the menu, for me, for my use case, the menu is not, I don't really worry about them being confused about the menu on a mobile, and I mean on a desktop, but on a mobile, that's going to really cloud the menu on the mobile.
It could get really tough on mobile, you know.
My comment,
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And I think it's much more doable on desktop, and actually could be kind of cool. You know, that could present troubles for the guys who build all this stuff, where, like, you know, you might have to have a different functionality on mobile from desktop. You know, that sounds complicated. We got Tim Trickle on here. Tim, you have any thoughts on showing all the different sections within a chapter in the finished report? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but you have a good mind for these sort of things.
Yeah, I think it would probably depend on how the template is set up. Like if you have a million chapters, then and a million sections, then it could get busy. If you have kind of a simpler report, I think that it might look pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, then you have all those questions. Do you keep them all expanded all the time? Do you only expand the one that you're in, which means a lot of moving around on the menu? So yeah, I think there's a lot of things to think about there.
Yeah, I think I would assume that you'd click on garage and you would only see the sections of garage.
I think it would only open up one at a time. It would almost have to be like that, or it would just be like unusable, really.
Kind of like the mobile navigation.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But having the ability to navigate around in the report, that can't be bad, can it?
Yeah, no, it could be good. I'll bring it up with the boss. You know, I don't know why we haven't yet, but there's always reasons for these things that it always is easy to talk about and 10 times more complicated to try to like implement for various reasons, you know. But it has come up before, and I don't think there is a setting, Wayne, where you can currently expose that. But if we were to build it, you'd almost probably want it to be a setting where people could turn it on or off. And I think it would only be where, like, you would click, it would only expose whatever chapter you're in at that time. But, you know, right now, even on my big screen, if you were just exposing all these sections, it could get hard to like scroll down to another chapter below. I mean, that would start taking up a lot of the bandwidth here. So I don't know.
Ask
That
another
wasn't my question.
Okay. What was your question, Wayne?
If you publish this, my experience is those don't show up.
What don't show up?
The chapter section, like they do in the online.
You mean yeah, well, right now we're looking at the published.
Right, but you can PDF. And if you go to the summary, you have the chapter and section.
Are you talking about these?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
If you make a PDF, I don't believe those persist.
Oh, is that right? Let's make a PDF. It might take a minute. Oh, I must have built it earlier. Yeah, it looks like you're right. Those do not show up. I guess part of the logic
in the report
is
right now. I think it's only in the summary. Are you in the body right now?
Go to the summary.
I'm in the body.
Yeah, it was in the summary.
Summary.
Yeah, they're there.
Okay, I'm mistaken.
Super.
Cool.
Thank you.
Could you show the mobile with that? We looked at the
Oh,
preview.
like look at a finished report on mobile?
Yeah, with that spread that you did with the Palm Tech template.
Yeah, let me see if I log in here. Sorry, this is always a bit of an out-of-body experience trying to get myself on the mobile phone.
Need to make myself a co-host. Where'd I go?
It's out of body for us now with two Dylans on.
Yeah, sorry. All right, I think, is that better?
It doesn't matter.
No, is it echoing?
We love you, Dylan. More, just the more. I mean, you put three of you up there.
Here, hang on.
Can't be enough Dylans.
That's right.
Yeah, see, weird. I'm muted on here and on here.
That any better?
Echo chamber, but I don't know. Keep going.
All right. I gotta make myself a co-host. Hang on. Yeah, this is seriously complicated to like make a co-host. Screen.
You got it.
I'm in. Now I need to go to this report.
And that's Android you got?
This is Android. View published report. Oh, I don't want to publish it. View published. There it is. Oops. So what were we looking at here?
Just to, how those are together.
Yeah. Or were we looking at like the way the chapters and sections work?
Yeah, where the photos were like coming up.
Well, that big blue text is so helpful, isn't it?
Yeah, I really love these all blue caps. Just help so much, So here's the summary. And then you can click the little hamburger menu and you can get this stuff. So we could go into the complete report. I mean, it's fairly navigable, but you can see how if you started expanding that on mobile, like you're gonna blow that whole screen out. It could get hard. So that hamburger,
hold it sideways.
that's even worse. But at least the long way, you have a kind of a long version of it. But let's go to like the roofing section.
It's a Dex or something, wasn't it? Was it in that?
What were we looking for again? I can't remember.
Something Dex.
Yeah, I don't know. Looks kind of good on mobile, I think. I mean, it's a little bit harder to move around, but the navigation's still pretty good on mobile,
So are those just random photos you dropped, right?
Say that again, Gary?
So those are the random photos you dropped into that test.
No, this
is an actual finished report.
Oh,
were we trying to look at that like Palm Tech one?
I just wanted to compare the Palm Tech example to your example that you showed in the
okay, let's do that
print preview from the desktop.
Yeah, let's go to, I think this was my Palm Tech sample. Yeah, so here's that grounds chapter, and yeah, I think it looks really nice. Like the video is still processing. I must have had a video in there.
Okay, and then compare that to an in progress menu where you're adding, when you said, it would really change how you are working on the job and you're adding them as you go. It's
Well,
different.
so yeah, so let's go look at the back end of this. I think would be crazy fast.
I just love the way the comments look where they go.
Yeah, I know it's really
Yes.
pretty nice. So I'm going to hit the plus mark, and let's start a new Palm Tech. So we'll go to the grounds. I'm excited to play with this on mobile. I haven't done it yet. So grading, we could say minor slope, and then under the all caps, I allowed the ability to give it a grade. I think that came from a PalmTech thing. So we could say acceptable concrete driveway, gravel driveway, acceptable walkways, concrete pavers, marginal, click. I'll open it up. I'll snap a picture here. Tree roots are lifting up the pavers at the front entry. It doesn't work while I'm zooming. Sorry, I'll type it in.
Yeah, I don't do that texting because I cannot text that fast.
So I'll put my cursor here, and you can do this on mobile, is hit the little mountains button. And there we got our comment. It'll be even faster. Let's choose one of these ones where I built a little gunny sack.
There you go.
Now you can be like the grade of the grade slopes towards the building and siding are in soils
There you go.
contact.
There you go.
I got those two, and then you could just fire off a couple pictures here.
There you go. Okay.
I mean, that's just going to be so fast. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just, boy, I don't, you're just going to be
Right.
able to fly.
Right. And then what
And
is
everything's right there.
Okay.
You don't have
yeah.
scroll
I got
down
you.
to the bottom. So you could go add
That's much
another
better.
one.
Bravo. Yeah, round of applause. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's, again, you hit it, you click it open, you choose a couple things that apply,
Yep.
you fire off some pictures,
Yep. You're on a roll.
and you click out of it. They're all there. You could open them up and you could annotate them. We could put in a little picture.
You're really beginning to be. You're gonna. The Spectora is gonna. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is like.
Yeah.
And it's all just.
That's really like their layout right there.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be a super fast workflow.
Yep.
So you can make these little gunnies as long as you want, but this is all brand new. But I really think this template adjustment is gold. It's Donnie's on here. Thanks, Donnie. I saw his template and I was like, he's going to want it like that. So I asked Steve, and Steve built it. So yeah, so pretty cool. I think it's going to look good and be pretty fast, So I haven't built out much of this. I just kind of built out a little demo to see if it would work, but I think it's going to be pretty great.
So one thing to try on that, so like scroll down a little bit further to something that you haven't done yet. Like let's say you find that one that's acceptable. Like let's say stoops are acceptable, and you're done, and you're not going to do any more pictures. You can click on the word step stoops.
Just make them shrink up.
Yeah, and so like as you go, you can minimize those so they're out of the way.
Say that again. Click on the word what?
Yeah, watch. I'm going to hit porches present acceptable, and I'm going to click on porches, and it just kind of shrinks up. So I don't even have to scroll down.
You put your finger on the word patio?
Yeah, and boom, there it just disappears.
They accordion open. That's
yeah, and then you just tap on it again to open it. If you go back, it's like, oh, this wasn't acceptable. You can open it back up and change it, and add your defect or whatever.
You're just like stacking that stuff. It's sort of like I'm done with that kind of deal. Yeah. Okay.
I think that if you don't collapse those every time, they stay open the next time you open a report. And I think when you're working on a teamed inspection, whoever, messed with that section of that chapter last, it stays the way they left. So if you are working with someone who's not a good housekeeper, let's say, they're all, that's what I
That's a
have
good
found.
tip. If you were working as a team, someone could collapse it and you might not really then know about it or see it. Yeah, that's a good call,
I'm
Jamie.
pretty sure. I don't do, me,
But
Dylan, I don't do
this is a
very many
really
inspections anymore, but
that's a
I'm pretty
cool
sure.
workflow though, Tim. I
Man,
love your
that's
idea of just
complex. That's
of,
complex. That whole concept of working with 2 or 3 people in the same
Yeah.
blowing my freaking mind.
I mean,
So,
this is just blazing fast. My God.
so Jamie, it saves when you save the template. So if you're working on a report and you have some of them collapse and then you hit save template on there, then those collapsed ones save into the template. But if you collapse them and you don't save the template and you start another one, then it goes back to how it was before. So it really just depends on how you're managing your saving the template.
Okay. Good info. I'll have to check. Like I say, I open this up on my mobile and the thing is all open. Maybe that's the way I left. I'm the only, myself and one other person in our company can save templates. So maybe it's me.
This is pretty cool, Tim. I mean, here's that whole section all just collapse, You know what would be neat is like I don't have
collapse them and then open them.
Well, it would be cool if like there were required fields and then they turned green or something to know that you'd been there. You know what I mean? Like, because right now with it collapsed, I can't really
Yeah,
tell.
good call. Yeah, good call.
If you had these as required fields, Tim, do you know if they would show red when they're collapsed?
Yeah, or
some color.
recommended fields. If you don't want to mess with your flags, you can make them all recommended and they show orange when they're collapsed until you've clicked on something and they show white when they're collapsed.
Okay.
Oh, good call. Yeah.
So
yeah, that's kind of like Home Inspector Pro.
Is that right? Okay. So if I had
once you finish the section, it changes color.
Yeah, and we do that on desktop, but this is like it would be cool to see it when they're collapsed, So I just haven't. I don't really collapse stuff, honestly. I just haven't.
When you collapse and not collapse this, that doesn't affect the desktop version of anything, does it?
Not at all.
Okay. So this menu, operating this menu, is separate from a staff that might be watching you do the inspection and guiding you along or helping you. I'm just kind of toying with an idea of having a multiple inspector company and them having someone at home guiding them through it, either on the phone and doing it, together with an app or whatever. So anyway.
Yeah, interesting. Well, kind of cool.
But yeah, so Dylan, if you wanted them to all start collapsed, then what you would do is you would collapse them all on your mobile, and then you go to your desktop and hit save template, and then the next time you load it, they'll all start collapsed.
Interesting. Good to know. Cool. I haven't really fiddled with this all that much. So this is kind of
and it won't affect your desktop template.
No, it's weird that it saves through the desktop. Like it's a property of the field. That kind of translates everywhere, but you don't see anything different on desktop. You only see it on mobile.
That's like UI on steroids.
It's interesting that works like that, Tim. It might be the only example I can think of where you make a change on mobile and then save it on desktop and it actually saves the template. There's not much that would save, most of our template creation is all done on the desktop, basically,
Yeah, it'd be nice to have, like, when you create the field, have a start collapsed on mobile option there.
Yeah.
But it's just more and more options, just makes things more confusing. So it's kind of weird how it is, but yeah, it is once you understand how it saves, it makes sense. It's just
we'd always talked about being able to collapse them on desktop.
So if you're doing that, Tim, if you had a collapse all and then save template, you could do it from your desktop. You've got your mobile apps laying there on your desktop and you click collapse all, save template.
Well, there's no collapse all button. Like you would have to
Well,
have
I know.
your phone
I
in your
know.
hand. You could collapse all of them, and then when you
Sure.
save it, then it'll start that way the next time.
Yeah, I guess I was trying to macro that action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but
Yep.
Tim, that's a great idea that you would be able to do that because, like, I'm looking at my mobile while I've got my desktop open, and that's exactly what's happening. What you described before, I've got these uncollapsed on my mobile, and then I go make a change on my desktop, and I save template, and now all of a sudden it's
And they'll show up that way.
I like that idea.
Yeah, so you just have to whatever template you're saving off of, just have to not touch it on mobile and not collapse and uncollapse stuff on mobile on that version that you're saving from.
Yeah, or go
else
through it
it'll
like
save
I'm
it
doing
that way.
right, or go through it like I'm doing right now and collapse them all and then hit save template.
Yeah,
do
so
that
like
about once a
like a
month.
cleanup process. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Huh.
One thing I wanted to show too is the needs attention. So most of you guys are probably familiar with this, but this is one screen on the mobile that has all of my required fields for my whole template all in one place. So this is really pretty cool. I mean, you could arguably do your entire report from this. Every once in a while, it sort of kicks you out of it, which is really a bug. It should keep you in it. But and I've noticed, Tim, when I go into these sections from this part of mobile, that see how they come out, they start collapsed.
Yeah, and I don't love that. I've put in feedback about that before. So
Okay.
my understanding is the reason they did that is if you clicked on the third or fourth one down, they don't have a good way to scroll to it, so they decided to collapse everything so that only the one you clicked on shows.
Okay.
But it keeps everything else collapsed, which then you have to expand
Yeah,
everything.
and then you have to click on it
Yeah,
to open it, which
I think that's the one that they could revisit at some point.
so
but I
just so
know
you
they've
guys
been
know
busy
how
with
to
other
submit
stuff.
feedback on mobile, we'll do it. You just swipe the bottom bar to the right and you can hit this and submit feedback.
Get the little the little comment section. Comment.
It's a little exclamation point, and when you hit that, it'll give you this little thing to send in feedback to the guys. What did I want to say here, Tim? The required fields on mobile opens with everything closed.
Yeah, yeah, it automatically collapses everything when you use the it's not what's the needs attention.
Sorry about somebody's calling me. All right, and then you just hit send. So we just gave Steve a little submit feedback on that. So if notice now, I'm going to fill in my roof section here. So we'll start filling stuff in. As the red disappears, the required fields go away. So that's kind of nice. And basically that long list that we showed in the beginning starts kind of shrinking up. It's interesting, Tim, the way it like collapses even like my inspector notes, you know?
Yeah, and that was my feedback was, it makes sense maybe to collapse everything above, but not everything below the one that you clicked on.
Yeah, that's just weird to me. But anyway, so we could write in a comment here. I'll click on it. We get my comment. I could attach a couple pictures here. I should get some fun props for these little demos, so I'm not just taking a picture of my computer screen the whole time.
Make a Lego house.
Yeah, exactly. Some little stuffies or something. Okay, so then, now what I really want to do is go, if I click this back arrow, it doesn't, I have to go navigate back in, like it keeps kicking me out of the needs attention. And I'd like to be able to stay in the needs attention personally. And because then you could better kind of literally, my roofing section, you wouldn't know my template, so you wouldn't know, but my roofing section now is kind of gone because I've filled it out. So it doesn't need to be in this needs attention area. So I really think it's neat the way it just kind of shrinks up, but I feel like we could use a little bit of tweaking to like make it so that you could literally do your whole inspection and never leave that one area.
Yeah, if you click the back at the top left corner of the screen when you've gone into something, it takes you back to needs attention, but other ways kick you out of it.
All right, let's try that. So we'll fill out the decks.
Now it's
Which arrow?
I think because you clicked on something, you got kicked out of it. I'm not sure. Go to needs attention again. And do guardrail or something. So on the top left, you have that back
Okay.
arrow. So that, as long as there's an arrow there, that'll take you back to your needs attention.
But as soon
screen.
as I click on, I could even do these.
Yeah,
I
as
wonder
soon
what
as
I
you go
clicked on that I
into
lost it.
you entered a comment before. You added something that had an automatic comment in, and I think you went into it, and then that lost that link back to.
Well, I still.
So now
There it's
you
gone.
got the hamburger
Okay.
menu, so you'd have to go back to the hamburger menu to get in there. But as long as you don't go into a comment or don't go to a different section, then that back arrow is there to take you back.
I'm stuck inside of it. Yeah, that's interesting. Man, that's freaking complicated for Steve to figure out. Interesting.
So I don't expect this thing to be around me, but I'm trying to get mine to look like yours, and it doesn't look like it at all. Grounds, just a chapter heading. Where's your chapter? Right there. Okay, so when I open mine, it's like that. So I got like exterior, and I'm at water meter, and I click on like yours, like address identification or drainage site, whatever. I do that, and it comes up. So where is all this collapsing going on?
You have to have multiple things in one section, I think. Let's go to decks for a minute. Wood decks. So this is where, it's when you get multiple pull downs. It's why that PalmTech template was such a good demo of it, because I had so many fields all in one section.
Okay.
Whereas if you have a section with only one field in it, then there's nothing to collapse.
All right. So I have one with a bunch of selections. So if you'll just go to one. Yeah, I don't know. Mine doesn't look anything like that.
I bet in electrical you got a chapter.
I got it to do it. Okay, I got it to do it. I see what I'm doing.
Cool.
It's where I click on it to collapse it was the issue. Okay, yeah, good, super. Thanks.
Yep. Yeah, that's interesting, Tim. We'll have to get our heads around, like, maybe it's working as good as it can as far as having to stay in here. I'll have to talk to Steve about that. And I don't know. I don't use it that often. For me, the needs attention I use mostly when I'm getting close to being done with the inspection, and then I go in, and it's a little harder to navigate with 184 items. But once you're down to like a few items, then it starts getting really fast.
So one other question: what was the reasoning behind the collapsing? What was the? Because I mean, I probably won't ever use that. What was the?
Well, it's a little easier to show it off on that other template. If I can figure out if this one's it.
Yeah, I got mine to collapse, but I'm just trying to figure out why I would want to collapse them.
You just don't want to you don't have to scroll so much on a phone or a mobile device.
Yeah, like as you're going, as you fill it out, you just collapse them. It's just going to be crazy fast.
Okay, just to dump it out of the way. I got you. Okay.
Yeah, so like this PalmTech template's perfect for it. You'd fill stuff out, and then you don't even have to scroll anywhere. You just keep collapsing, so the whole thing will just shrink up, and then you're done.
Gotcha.
Like for me, I wouldn't use this quite as much because my template's not really designed quite like this. But
right. Maybe that's part of my reason.
It showed up especially well on this template because I took for me, I would have a chapter under grounds with like all these different sections. And in this template, it's really like mostly one section with all these different fields in it. So the collapsing is very effective,
Different. Okay, yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, so I have mine set up more the way you do. And as soon as I do a description and I know I'm not going to click anything else in there, I go ahead and collapse it. And then that way when I come back to that section later, because on this one it's dropping it in, you're collapsing the comments, but normally all your comments show up at the bottom. And so I like to collapse everything as I go. So that way when I get back into that section, everything's collapsed. I can see my comments right away when I go back to add something later. Because all of those fields are out of the way, and navigating back just makes it
so like a new
one
wouldn't be collapsed. It wouldn't be in the collapsed sections if you added something on the fly?
On this template, it all gets, the comments all get collapsed because of where they are. On Dylan's other template, if he collapses as he goes, then all he's left with is all his comments down at the bottom.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I got
And
you.
so
Got you.
it makes it easier to get to those if you collapse stuff as you go, because then you go back to the section and all you have is that you can see is your comments.
If you're using the collapsed version and you collapse, and you get to the bottom and you go, oh, wait a minute, that's an odd thing. And then you take it and there's no way it can collapse into anything. You would see it because wouldn't it be non-collapsed? It would be it would just rest at the bottom, I guess, is the question I got. If you did one on the fly, it wouldn't jump up into the collapsed section because you wouldn't, like if it's a brand new comment.
Yeah, a brand new comment would stay at the very bottom, and that's why I like collapsing them so I can see that brand new comment and I can see the add comment button.
Gotcha. And then you could address that comment the way you wanted to, whether to say that or whatever. Yeah, I got you.
Right.
So Jamie had a really good question that I'd like to address. I might get off of mobile. It echoes on me and kind of drives me crazy. So I can get back in if we need it, but
thanks for the show and tell on that.
Yeah, I'm done on mobile for a minute. So I'm going to share my desktop. So we're going to go into a little bit of weeds with template stuff here. So Jamie asked a couple really good questions. It was kind of a long question, but one of the things that I like to do, so here's my narrative style report. And one of the things
Dylan, we're not seeing your desktop.
Okay.
I'm not.
Let me reshare.
AT&T.
Oh, really? Stop share. Let me try again. Hang on.
Hey, Dylan, I'm going to have to run, but I wanted to let Charles Bolfer know that I'm around if he needs help this week.
Thanks, Charlie.
Okay.
Good to see you on here, Charlie. We'll see you, man.
See ya.
Can you guys see my desktop again? Okay. So let me unpack a few different things. So I'm able to use one template for just about everything. I use my template for consultations, for interior only condos, for full condos, for residential, for multiplexes, for commercial. I can use it for everything. So one of the ways that allows me to do that is I can switch the boilerplate. So the boilerplate here on this report says home inspection. Let me start a new job. I don't want to mess with my template. So we'll create from template, and I'm going to choose my narrative style report. And by the way, I love having as few templates as I think I can get away with. I hate maintaining templates is so much work. And if I can do it in one, it's just my life is better. Okay. So let's just pretend this is a consultation now. So I can switch my boilerplate to a consulting boilerplate, which basically just says this is not a home inspection. I'm just doing a consult for you. And then the logic of Scribeware is if I don't have something if there's no data in a field anywhere, then that doesn't print, right? And so if I go ahead and publish this report right now, let's just publish and look at it. This is a brand new report, and I think all it's going to say is that we're doing a consultation. There it goes. So yeah, limited written consultation is all it says. No major concerns. So that's it. There's nothing in the report. And one of the things I love about designing my template like this is that, I think a genuine criticism in the home inspection industry is I've read like 120-page reports that don't seem to have any information about the actual building that I'm looking at. It's like, well, I want to know about this house, not like some theoretical house, So anyway, to me, my reports may be long, but there's a lot of pictures and everything's about the actual building that I'm looking at. So that's one thing. But the other thing that's cool is now it's flexible. Like I could go ahead in this report and just fill in a deck section, and I could use the deck section and have one comment about decks, and that's it. That's all. That's all I'm using. To keep illustrating this idea, I could switch it from a consulting template to a condo interior boilerplate, and I could go ahead and I've got all my required fields set in grounds, but I can just turn them green because I know I'm not going to use those things. I could go into this, well, there could be decks in a condo interior. I usually don't do a garage or roof. So I'm just turning the things green that I'm not likely to use on a condo interior inspection. It's not the act of turning them green that makes them not publish. It's the fact that I'm not putting data in them. But by turning them green, all my required fields go away. So I can still use my required fields for this little condo job.
Pardon me, is that something you do like in the morning with a cup of coffee? You're prepping for the job and you just kind of go like, oh yeah, we're going there. I'm going to do this, this, and this.
That's right. It's a little bit of work. Like that you just witnessed me turning my template into a condo interior only template. So that took what, 30 seconds or something, you know? So, but before I head out, I will do that. I'll set my boilerplate. I'll kind of turn the things green that I'm not likely to need. And then I'm off to the races. So
you're just kind of prepping your report.
Yeah, I'm just getting the template ready. So so that's just one thing. And now let's talk about the boilerplate, because what you can do under your template is go under settings, report templates. So report templates, if you choose, this is my narrative style template, I can choose the boilerplate that I want to show up every single time. So my default is my Oracle Home Inspection boilerplate. If I'm not doing a regular residential, I have to toggle off of that to something else. You know, I could choose a different default one, but in this case, I don't want to. I like that. So that's how the boilerplate works. Now, one of the things that Jamie brought up, and this is something that I'd like to improve in Scribeware a bit. Currently, I have the summary show up at the start of my report. If I wanted, let's say I was done with this inspection and I wanted a report with no summary, no big deal. I can turn it off and go publish, and now I'll have a report with no summary. The problem is the system will remember that there's no summary, and the next time I go do that a report, I won't have a summary page. So I do, after publishing this, I would need to remember to turn on the summary page. So one of the features that I wanted to add would be like a little radio button on the actual job that would let you disable your summary page for just one job.
Notify you, yeah, or at least notify you, yeah, right.
You know, so it's a little thing, but if it's not that hard to do, but it would be easy to forget to turn it back on. In fact, I've done it, and then I see it, I'm like, where'd my summary page go? And then I have to go back and turn it on. Yeah, thank you, Jamie. So thank you for pointing that out. It's all functional now, but I think the system would work better if we had a disable summary page, little radio button right on the client and property information.
So doing it this way, where you use one template, the only downside that I can think of would be is if you have custom CSS for different templates.
That's a good question. So that's another feature that we don't have yet, but one of the things we would like to do would be able to save CSS per template. Yeah. And that's kind of high on the priority list. I don't know when that's going to happen, but at the moment, CSS is just saved globally, so you don't have a way to change CSS per template. One thing, Jamie, you could chime in on, I think we currently support the ability, Jamie, can't you have multiple different logos in one account? Like, you don't have to log out? Where is that?
I think it's on here. I'm trying to navigate on your computer screen.
Yeah. It might be a company, maybe company.
You go to
see up here under company.
Yeah, and then company profile.
Yeah, under your company profile. This is a slight distraction, James. I know you just have one company, but if anybody has multiple companies under one Scribeware account, you can now come up here and toggle between them, which is kind of cool. That's a little different, James, but it's sort of on that same trajectory of we're trying to add more features so that you could have just use it for more different things all at the same time. So yeah, and if you guys are newer to, if you don't know what James is talking about with CSS is cascading style sheets. Tim is our resident guru on this. I feel like James will probably get there too, but you can add all kinds of customizations with CSS code, which is really fun and cool, and I love. But at the moment, that saves globally to all of your reports. So another thing we could.
It'd be kind of cool if you had a drop down like you have with boilerplate and pick pre clusters of CSS. Like you
That
can
would
have
be
them all in
so
one
cool.
place.
You could like
You know what I
title
mean?
a whole cluster of CSS,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
one thing. That's a great idea. That would
You
be
kind of
so
do it
cool.
in your user's guide on YouTube. There's, I think it's on that. You can copy right off of that.
You can, so you can copy and paste a bunch of, and so it gets close to that. But
Yeah.
I think James's point is like you could have a completely finished look that's like
Yeah.
a bundle of code, and then save that as like SewerScope template or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you could toggle it almost like you know, your
Interesting.
boilerplate here or something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll get there.
So going back to
poor Steve's like, developing a nervous twitch as we talk about these things. But
back to my original question. So I wasn't imagining if I take the, like in the single item thing, I'm gonna write a comment about a deck. I did a deck inspection this morning. My first inspection this month. I was thrilled.
nice.
And I went in there, and there's no use in writing about a deck and then putting it in the summary. So I removed the summary, and then later on, I got a call from one of our guys in the field saying, "Hey, what happened to the summary?" And I remember, shit, I had to go back and put the summary back in. So I wasn't imagining that is what
No, you're exactly right.
Right.
I'm loath to call it a bug, but it's definitely like currently it's easy to disable the summary page, but you have to remember to re-enable it. And I think it's a little risky. I think we should have a disable summary page button on each job, basically.
When would you need that the most, you would think? At print time?
Yeah,
When you
for me,
publish?
it's when I go to publish, and it's usually when I'm doing a consultation or some kind
So
of
there
weird
might
job.
there might be a bit of code that Steve pops in there that when the publish button is clicked, a pop-up comes up and says, "Did you intend to not include the summary?"
Yeah, I think easier, I think, would just be to have a radio button right here that sort of disable summary, and then you could just click it, and it would, the point is the only way to do it now is to like shut it off for your entire template, and then you have to remember to turn it back on, which is
Hey, so I just tested something. There is kind of a workaround, Jamie. So go back to where you could change your template options. So report templates. So you're in Orca inspection or narrative style right now for your template.
Yep.
If you change something there, it will save it on your narrative style. But if you save another template with what you want, so like go from drop down on your template menu and pick something that has a different setup.
Yeah.
And then on the right, you can apply that to your current report. And then so you can have a whole separate section, so a whole separate like setup, pull it down from another template, apply that to the report. And because you're using it from that other template on this screen, it doesn't change it on your original
so
one.
Really,
so you don't have to go back
that's
and change
a cool
it back.
workaround. It would just apply a new set of radio buttons to an existing report. That's a pretty cool workaround, Tim. God damn, you're smart. That's brilliant. Yeah, what a good idea.
Thank you, Tim. I actually messed with it this morning, and I guess I got hung up, and then I went and I saved it.
Yeah, so what you do is I think all you'd really do is create any template. It doesn't even matter, and jigger these to where there is no summary page. And then you would toggle from, PalmTech to report with no summary or whatever, and then apply to the current report. So that's it's a bit of a workaround, but it's a brilliant idea that would work. And then you wouldn't inadvertently disable the rest of your guys' summary page.
No, great. Thank you, Tim. I saw that red button, apply settings. I just didn't take it a step further. Tim, you're smarter than me. Damn it.
Yeah, that's great, Tim. That's a cool workaround. I still think it'd be better to have a little button, but we'll get there. And that, another topic that always comes up is mobile preview, like mobile summary review with the client. And I know we keep bringing this up, but it's surprisingly complicated. I wish it were like, oh, they just need to build a button. But and I don't really have an issue with it. I personally really like just tagging the things that I'm going to talk to the client about. So I flag them as a summary item, and then I just go through them in the gallery, and I can blow them up, and that really works great for me. But I know some people are struggling with that. I just, any feedback you guys have, if you're struggling with that, my understanding, what I have in my mind is that really what people would like would, I don't even think they need a full report preview, but a preview that would have the entire summary page with photos in the summary page, whether or not you normally include photos in your summary page.
Spectora has an option that when you are almost done before publishing, you can look at the summary and it just pops up. It doesn't pop up from the publish page or the print page.
Isn't that the same thing as our preview button?
I guess. I don't know.
Because
I just
Spectora, because I mean the Spectora does have a preview. I mean, it's
I've used it before.
Yeah, I mean, so, you know, obviously on desktop we have preview, which seems to work great, but on Steve tells me that it's really hard / impossible to use our same preview technique with the mobile for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
So we need to come up with some way to create a preview of the summary page with the pictures. I think, I mean, we have Scott on here. I don't know if he's still listening, but I know Scott's one guy that's been really wanting something like this. And I don't know if there's anybody else on here that wants it, but
there's a couple things that doesn't actually work with preview as well. Like it doesn't pick up certain settings. Am I correct on that? Like your finished report may actually look a little different from preview. I can't remember what I ran across, but I realized there was one or two things that don't pick up when you use preview versus doing the full
the main
report.
thing, if you look at a published report, you can print it to PDF, you know, so the request list builder and all the PDF stuff is not enabled in preview. That's one thing. And then videos don't show in preview. But I think
this was like a setting. This was like it literally something didn't work. And I was trying to figure out why it wouldn't work. And if I published it, I got it. But if I previewed, I did not. I cannot remember what it is now. It's been 3 or 4 weeks.
Let me know if you stumble across that. To me, the only things I can think of would be the PDFs and the videos, but maybe there's something else. And if anybody struggles with PDF, or preview, excuse me, the preview is always building a preview using your computer's default web browser. So I think there are certain computers that have web browsers that it doesn't play well with, and so you just need to switch your default web browser. And
quick question.
Yeah.
In your settings where the CSS is loaded,
yep.
Do we have access to that JavaScript section? I didn't notice it. Is that something, the JS handlers, the JavaScript event handlers below you there?
Oh, that might be just for me. Tim would know more about this. Tim, do you?
Yeah, you wouldn't have access to that.
Yeah, I think it's
if we had something that would allow some minor minimum HTML coding or some sort that we could add video from another source where you're not hosting the video. I could use a YouTube video and use that as a standard in my template at the top as an embedded YouTube video. That
Tim, is that I mean, Gary, you could talk to Tim. Knows probably more about this than anybody except maybe Steve.
Yeah.
So I know nothing about this, but I know it's you know, if you think you know how to mess with it, I think we might be able to get you access to it, but I don't know what to do with it.
In some, what you see is what you get editors, those WYSIWYG editors, they have embed video. And Tim could explain it more than I could, but that's an option that's pretty basic in an editor.
It'd be cool to get you that, Gary, because I think, just so you guys know, Gary likes to do YouTube video overviews, right, of your report and then have them in the report.
Right.
And so that would let them, and you can currently in Scribeware have a link, but I think Gary wants to have like the video streaming basically, which is how all of our other videos are. But when you put a YouTube link, it doesn't sort of populate the preview thing where it just streams right there. I think that's what he wants to do, Tim.
I'd like to play the YouTube video in the review.
Yeah,
When-
and have the YouTube video stream just like one of our regular videos.
Yes,
that-
when they open it up, maybe I could put something that says, here's how to operate your template. And it's the same video and it's an explanation of how to deal with how to do the template.
I might be able to help you with that. We can talk about that. Just message me sometime. We can talk about that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Tim. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. I hadn't even really noticed that there. These guys are building so much stuff, I can't really keep track of it all. There's all these things that I don't even barely know what the hell they do. But, cool, guys. Well, any other questions? We did about an hour and 15 minutes. I can hang out for about another 15 minutes if anybody has any other questions on stuff. But we got a lot covered on this one, I thought. Fun session.
Yeah, so I guess James, you were asking about CSS for different templates.
Right.
One of the things I had talked to, or Steve and I were talking about at one point was potentially putting in, like having the template name as like one of the classes on the lower level so that you can make a CSS thing go directly to like specific to a template.
Right.
Would that be helpful?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was asking him some questions about that, so I think we'll revisit that. But yeah, I think that might be a good way to kind of help with that, so that you could make something that targets just a specific template.
Yeah, it would be really helpful to be able to save per template. Another thing that Tim's been able to get some table functionality going for some clients, which is kind of cool. But I don't know if we have time to really fiddle with that. But maybe next meetup you could show that off a little. Be interesting to show everybody. That's been kind of some exciting CSS type development, or maybe it's JavaScript. I don't know how the hell you're doing it. But magic.
Quickly on tables, is that so that you can put in financial information on it, or what was your plan, Tim?
So I know some of you guys know I do consulting on the side to do like extra modifications on Scribeware to the reports, and I had someone who was wanting a table, just kind of a very specific summary table for a different type of report, more like on the commercial side. And so I kind of made a way to pull data out and put it into a table as kind of a summary type thing. But I'm working on, I haven't fully figured out the whole consulting business model that I'm gonna go with, but I've trying to build out some things that I can share with people, and so yeah, I mean that's something that we could talk about. If there was a table that you needed built, we could talk about that and see if there's a way to do it.
I know one thing, Charlie has talked about doing consulting. I'm looking at doing consulting work rather than just trying to focus on home inspections. And I think that is a progressive move that a lot of guys that have been doing this a while are just kind of burnt out on home inspections and they want to do something a little bit deeper. And I think having a group of guys that do that and share tricks for that would be really cool.
Yeah, that would be super cool. Gary, just so you know, like this is kind of a commercial template I've been working on for the CCPIA group, that InterNACHI's commercial group.
Huh.
So I'll show you guys this. You guys want to check this template out? It's got some cool ideas in it. I'd love your feedback too. So I basically am just going down they call it the COMSOP, the Commercial Standards of Practice, but they made a document. I'm just going down the thing, kind of copying that to like build out what's in this template. And my thought is not having very many repairs or many comments, because this whole thing will be photo captions to bullets based. You're going to take pictures, caption them, and that's it. New roof repairs needed, roof replacement needed. and then I might have like roof drainage repairs needed, but I'm not going to have very many comments in this. And if people want to add their own comments, they can, but I'm not building out some library with 5 million comments. I'm done with that. So that's kind of, my thought for reporting on the defects. But then I came up with 2 sections. That cost to cure is kind of a big deal with commercial work. And so giving proposals. So I made 2 sections: cost to cure guesstimate with a high and a low, where you could just type in a field, it could have 5,000 and it could be 8,000. And then cost to cure proposal, you could put in 8,000 and then attach this little, maybe you get a PDF from a roofer of an actual proposal and you could go ahead and just attach it. But I built a cost to cure modifier for this report, which I thought was kind of cool. So all of that stuff would show up in one summary page item. And in fact, I was thinking of designing the template where the only thing in the summary page is cost to cure items. Because my thought is that most people buying commercial buildings don't really care about what everything is. They just want to know a number. And then all of these tables or all of these little fields that are available throughout this whole template, I talked to Tim about maybe this would be some custom work. It would cost a little extra, but we could get some table functionality where you could end up with like a cost to cure guesstimate and a cost to cure proposal all set up in a table that would just be like almost one of the first things that you see.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
They're going to want to know when too, Dylan. How much and when.
Okay.
But yeah, you got it.
Well, you suppose that would that need to be in the table, the when, or
that I initially thought a table being financial stuff, kind of for this or for reserve study work, but you could have a table that would have multiple columns or multiple areas, like near term 0 to 3 years, midterm 3 to 7 years, and then long term, and it would have the pricing in there. Shit, you can even take it.
Yeah, that's
multiplying percentages on 3% per annum.
Yeah, I could see this whole template could become a spreadsheet where you might have like a roof row and an exterior row and a wood decks row, and then within that you might have like low estimates, high estimates. It starts getting complicated to have low estimates, high estimates, and start putting in time frames.
Yeah.
If you have an idea for what that spreadsheet would look like, I'm all ears. I'd like to look at it, but I don't know. I'm just kind of playing with this now, but you bring up a good point on sort of timing of it.
So is it just like recreating the wheel that you could do it in Excel and then import it in?
You could, yeah. I mean, and that functionality exists right now. You could do it in Excel, save it as a PDF, and import it, and it would actually look really tidy. It would just be a little attachment in the published report, and we don't have to do anything for that. That functionality already totally exists.
Dylan, before you go away from that, put those numbers, put some gobbledygook numbers in there. Do a preview. I'd be interested in what that looks like in a preview.
Yeah, at the moment, obviously things aren't going into a table, So, but yeah, I'll do this again and let's preview it.
So Jamie, question for you, since you do the commercial inspections, when you do estimates like that, are you doing an estimate for the roofing system, or are you going to do multiple separate estimates within the roofing chapter of like, this section of the roof, this section of the roof? How granular are they usually?
I would think it would be one.
Just one for roof, one for exterior, one for drainage.
Yeah. And if you had, and then group all those together. If you had, I'm looking out my office window at a building that has 3 different kinds of roofs. So if one of them is a metal roof, I'm looking at, that's probably you don't have to worry about that for a long time. But the other one is a big 100,000 square foot modified bit roof. Those kind of roofs you probably would want to break out separately.
But then you could just duplicate the chapter and rename them.
Correct. Yeah.
For that.
If it's all the same roof, you probably could get away with just saying $8,000 on repairs or $100,000 on replacement. But if it's grouped, or if it's separate types of roof, then you have to kind of
break it up. Them. Yeah, that makes sense. If they have different service lives, then you have to break it up differently. This is kind of how it looks right now, Jamie. So not all, and then my thought is if Tim could grab all this data and move it into a single table, then you'd have one place that would have like the roof, the siding, the grounds that, it would all just be all line itemed out basically. But you have a good point. I've got high and low, and I've got a proposal, so two different, but I really don't have time frame on there,
The other thing, you could use what is it called at the end of the thing where people can do the cost to cure? You could even, we as building consultants could even do a cost to cure thing and set that up as a whole separate.
Well, that's a good point. You could do your regular report, and then you could use the request list builder essentially and build a cost to cure with like comments and stuff in that. It would create a single PDF that would have a bunch of data in there,
Turn it into a PDF and bring it right back into the report.
Yeah, you could. That's exactly that's a cool idea. Yeah.
Spectora has a insert table kind of thing. You hit this thing, it looks kind of like an Excel. When you click it on there and you actually highlight like how many rows and how many columns you want, it generates it, and you have pretty much all the functions of like Excel. You put a header in there, you can merge cells, it's kind of all that, so you can actually build that in there. So it'd be kind of cool to have that option in here.
It would. And I think, Steve, there's a text editor that has that, but we would have to rebuild our text editor. I think that's going to be kind of painful when we do that, but we have our eyes on one that would let us do that. It's good to know. Thanks, Jamie.
You do that, the video thing is pretty much solved, because most of those text editors that you purchase have video embed.
Oh, for
options.
your YouTube videos, Gary?
Video embed options,
Yeah, that could be. That's something I'd love to do. I'd love to rebuild our text editor, but I think it's going to be, that's one of those things that's easy to say and is probably fairly painful.
Hey, Dylan, this is Sang.
Jamie.
Hey, this is Sang.
Oh, hey, Sang.
Hey, I just uploaded the
I can't hear you. Can you, I don't know if it's your mic or something.
Can you hear me better?
Yeah, that's better. Yep.
So you check out the chat box. I just uploaded the screenshot of the price and the commercial repair cost things that you're talking about.
Oh, cool.
That might be something that you're looking for.
How awesome. Let me open that up. Hang on. Downloads. Where is it?
No, check. It's in the like a Zoom.
Yeah, I'm trying to open it. I thought I downloaded it. Oh, it's saving on the desktop. Hang on.
I'll just email the picture to you right now.
It's in chat. 10-year
Yeah,
summary.
I'm trying to open it from chat and it just doesn't open. The heck is it? I just thought I put it on here, but I don't see it.
What is this? 10-year summary.
That's from the what is it called? It's the class that I took for commercial inspection. That's kind of example that they gave that to the customer at the end of the property condition inspection.
Gotcha.
And they broke it down to current repair cost, what they need in within next 10 years.
This is it. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice. And so did you just take the CCPIA course or did you take a different one?
No. It was from Ash. That's actually Horizon guy, Richard something.
Okay.
That he held the class for Ash a couple of years back.
Yeah, that's really nice. So they just have one cost to replace. Interesting that they have the quantity though. That's pretty cool. This would actually, I don't know, Tim, how hard would this What gets hard is all these like projections then of the years where it starts building out. That gets to be a little more complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for sharing this, though. That's pretty sweet. This would be a good thing to hold up if that text editor that we could update. It would be interesting to see if you could do all this with that. But you know, to someone's point, you could do all this in a spreadsheet now and just drag it in. It's just you got to open up an Excel sheet to do it. Hard to know whether it's worth building Excel into Scribeware or if it's just easier to just build it out. I mean, I suppose there's an automatic filling that's kind of nice if it's built into Scribeware. It would start picking up a lot of the data that you're already just naturally putting in, so it'd save you some work. But cool. Sang, thanks for sharing that. It's great. Cool, guys. Well, oh, look, here's Charlie's thing. I want to bring, I love this. But I'm not done with my template yet. That's awesome. Good stuff.
Sometimes.
Yeah. That's pretty funny. Right on, guys. Well, thanks so much for chiming in and being here. Appreciate everybody's support and great questions and feedback. And we'll do our best to keep making it better and making it faster. We're working hard. So appreciate you guys. Reach out if you need a hand with anything, reach out and we'll do our best to help you. And yeah, thanks for checking it all out.
All right. Talk to you
Thank
later.
you.
See you guys.
Thank you, Dylan.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.